If you spend most of your day working at a desk, you probably don't notice it at first. But over time, something starts to feel off. Your eyes get tired faster. Working at night feels heavier than it should. And staying focused becomes harder, even though nothing really changed. In many cases, the problem isn't your monitor. It's your desk lighting. Bad desk lighting usually doesn't feel bad right away. It becomes uncomfortable little by little. Shadows on the desk, light hitting your face directly, a strong contrast between a bright screen and a dark room. This is very common for people working from home or spending long hours in front of a computer. Changing a desk lamp or adding a monitor light bar doesn't fix everything, but it can make working at your desk feel a lot more comfortable. When putting this list together, the goal wasn't to look for flashy features or things that only sound good on paper. Desk lighting is one of those things that only really makes sense after hours of real use. In daily life, what actually matters is the quality of the light, not just brightness, visual comfort over time, ease of adjustment without constantly tweaking things, and, most importantly, how the lighting feels after several hours of work. The options you see here were chosen based on real-world use and consistent user feedback, what people still like after weeks, what starts to bother them over time, and which ones continue to feel worth it in everyday routines. The BenQ ScreenBar Halo 2 is not the kind of product people usually buy on impulse. Most start looking into something like this only after they realize their eyes feel tired every single day, especially when working at night or in low-light environments. The idea behind it is simple, but well executed. The light sits on top of the monitor and shines directly onto the desk without hitting the screen itself. This helps avoid reflections, glare, and that uncomfortable feeling of light shining straight into your face, which is common with traditional desk lamps. One of the main differences with this model is the backlight positioned behind the monitor. At first, it can seem like a purely aesthetic detail. In practice, it helps reduce the contrast between a bright screen and a dark surrounding space, something that tends to strain the eyes during long work sessions. After some time using it, especially at night, the screen starts to feel softer and less aggressive, and the space around the monitor feels more visually balanced. It's the kind of change you don't notice right away, but you feel after a few hours of work. The brightness adjusts automatically based on the room's lighting, and there's a simple wireless controller on the desk for quick adjustments. No menus, no apps, no complicated settings. The idea is to adjust it once and then simply work. People who use this kind of lighting rarely talk about numbers or technical specifications. What they usually mention is something else. Their eyes feel less tired at the end of the day, and working at night feels noticeably easier. It's not a flashy product. It doesn't try to impress. It simply solves a quiet problem that many people only notice once it's been bothering them for a long time. The BenQ ScreenBar Plus is usually something people only start considering once their desk lighting becomes noticeably uncomfortable. It's not about wanting something new. It's about realizing that the current setup isn't working anymore. Maybe the desk feels unevenly lit, shadows keep forming, or the eyes start to feeling tired earlier than they should. This light sits on top of the monitor and spreads illumination evenly across the desk surface without shining directly into your face or reflecting off the screen. That alone fixes one of the most common issues caused by traditional desk lamps. The brightness adjusts automatically based on the light in the room, which helps keep the desk consistently lit without needing constant manual changes. There's also a small wired controller on the desk for quick, precise adjustments when needed. Unlike some other models, there's no backlight behind the monitor here. For many people, that's not a problem, especially if they work in rooms with some ambient lighting already. The focus stays on lighting the desk itself in a clean and controlled way. What users usually point out isn't a specific feature or setting. It's something more subtle. After a few days, working at the desk feels easier, more natural, and less tiring. It doesn't try to change the workspace dramatically. It simply removes small sources of visual discomfort that tend to build up over long work sessions. The Xiaomi Mi Computer Monitor Light Bar is often chosen by people who are already feeling some discomfort at their desk, but don't want to overcomplicate things or spend too much. Usually, the issue isn't dramatic. The desk just doesn't feel right anymore. The lighting feels uneven, the eyes get tired faster, and working at night becomes less comfortable than it should be. This light sits on top of the monitor and shines directly down onto the desk surface, not into your face, not onto the screen. That simple positioning already fixes one of the most common problems with traditional desk lamps: unwanted glare and harsh reflections. There's a small wireless controller that handles everything. You turn it to adjust brightness, rotate again to change the color temperature, and that's it. No menus, no extra settings, no learning curve. There are no advanced features here, no sensors, and no extra lighting effects. And for many people, that simplicity is exactly the point. It doesn't try to transform the entire workspace or stand out visually. It quietly addresses a common lighting issue and makes the desk feel more comfortable to use, especially during longer work sessions. It's the kind of product that fades into the background, which is usually a sign that it's doing its job well. The Quintus Monitor Light Bar is often chosen by people who are already feeling a quiet kind of frustration with their desk setup. It's not one big problem. The lamp feels a bit too harsh. Some parts of the desk stay darker than others, and by the end of the day, the eyes feel more tired than they should. This light sits on top of the monitor and directs the light downward onto the desk surface, not into your face, not onto the screen. That simple change already removes two common sources of discomfort: glare and uneven lighting. The desk feels more balanced and the light stays where it's actually needed. Depending on the version, you either adjust the light with a touch control or let the brightness adapt automatically to the room. There's no setup process and nothing you really need to learn. It's meant to be adjusted quickly and then forgotten. There's nothing flashy or premium about it. It doesn't try to stand out or change the look of the workspace. Instead, it quietly fixes a small problem, one that becomes more noticeable the longer you sit at the same desk every day. And for many people, removing that constant low-level discomfort is already enough to make working feel easier. The BenQ e-reading desk lamp is a different kind of solution. Unlike monitor light bars, this is a traditional desk lamp, but designed with a very specific goal in mind: lighting a wide area evenly instead of creating a single intense bright spot. This makes a noticeable difference for people who read, write, or type for long periods and constantly find themselves adjusting the lamp to avoid shadows. Instead of chasing the light around the desk, the light simply stays where it's needed. The illumination feels soft and calm, not harsh or distracting. It doesn't overpower the workspace or draw attention to itself. And after some time, you stop thinking about the lamp altogether, which is usually a good sign that the lighting is doing its job properly. Because it's a desk lamp, it does take up some space. That's something to consider, especially on smaller desks. But many users mention that once they experience how comfortable the lighting feels over longer sessions, the space it occupies becomes much less important. It doesn't try to modernize the workspace or add visual flair. It focuses on one thing: creating a comfortable, evenly lit area that makes long work sessions feel easier and less tiring. Choosing a desk light isn't about finding the best one. Desk lamps and monitor light bars work in different ways. Desk lamps take space and create shadows, but some people prefer that. Monitor light bars sit on the screen and light the desk from above, which often works better on smaller desks. In the end, what matters is how your desk feels when you sit down to work. Good lighting doesn't draw attention to itself. It simply lets you work. At the end of the day, lighting isn't about technology or price. It's about how you feel when you sit down to work. If the desk feels heavy, if your eyes get tired too fast, something is out of balance. When the light is right, work flows better. You don't notice the lighting, you just stay there longer with less effort. Here on the channel, the goal is always to talk about simple adjustments like this that quietly improve daily life without exaggeration or empty promises. If this kind of content helps you, there are other videos here about lighting, visual comfort, and ways to make your workspace feel calmer. Sometimes, small changes make more of a difference than we expect.